Join me to paint this peaceful winter scene using watercolor. The sketch needed for this painting is given in this video and the link to the sketch is given in the description from where you can download the image. I tear the masking tape into two halves and stick one half of the torn masking tape for the edges of the snow. By doing this, we can give a realistic effect for the snowy landscape. Next, I wet the background, making sure not to wet inside the bird sketch. I'm using my mop brush to wet the large area. To wet near the bird, I'm using a round brush. After wetting the area near the bird, I wet the remaining portion again to ensure it stays wet. After wetting the background, next using indigo pigment, I paint the background. Be careful not to paint inside the bird. Using a round brush, define the edges of the bird. I tilted the board so that the excess pigment gets collected near the tape. Using a wastecloth, I wipe those excess pigment. This is to prevent any formation of cauliflower effect. Using an old ID card or credit card, I lift the paint from the wet paper to create the branches of a berry plant. One important point you have to consider while lifting the color from a wet paper is the paper should be neither excessively wet or overly dry. Now my paper is almost dry. I'm using knife to lift color to create thin branches. My paper is completely dry. Next, I'm going to paint the birds using permanent orange. To paint the darkest part of the bird, I mixed a small amount of permanent orange with indigo. Using this mix, I paint the head portion, tail, and beak of the bird. After that, using the light value of this mix, I paint the wings of the bird. While removing the masking tape, I noticed an unintended mark of indigo pigment in certain areas. So I'm removing those pigment using a damp brush and then introduce a shadow effect on the snow. I'm using the indigo pigment to paint that shadow effect. Next, I'm painting the last bird in this picture using permanent orange. To paint the head, tail and beak of the bird, I mix small amount of permanent orange with indigo pigment. Using light value of this mix, I paint the wings of the bird. If you are uncertain about mixing permanent orange with indigo, you can use Payne's Gray as an alternative. To paint the wings of the bird, you can use light value of Payne's Gray. For the bird on the snow, add some feet and shadow for the bird. To paint the shadow of the bird, I'm using indigo pigment. At last, I'm adding red berries using vermilion hue. I decided to add some more delicate branches to the tree using a knife. The branches of this tree looks like slightly coated with snow. I'm adding feet to the birds and at last I'm splattering some acrylic white for the falling snow. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you in another video. Until then, take care and bye bye from Prema.